coming out of the stretch here since the last game heading into conference, what was the focus the last few days out of the holiday, and how do you feel things are going into the start of conference play?
Well, we play on Monday, so Christmas Day was Wednesday. So all our guys were back yesterday afternoon, early afternoon. They were in the gym getting their position workouts in, individual workouts, and then we had a good long practice last night. We had to flush the or do our analytics off of the Corpus Christi game. So once we got through that, we started broke down the film of that game, made our list on the things that we need to do better. Um, and then we made a list of the things that we're getting better at. Um, can't always just focus on things you got to get better at. You'll never focus on the things you're good at. So, um, but I think our guys all came back with good attitudes, as they always do. Hard work. We got a lot of work in last night. Today we have individual position workouts in the morning, and then we'll practice this afternoon. Um, and just like everybody in our league, I think everybody's excited and anxious to start conference play.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Chris Baldwin with Paper City Houston. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Kelvin. The fast pace Oklahoma State, plays at this year. How have you seen that help them, and how have you seen their team sort of develop?
Well, I think that first of all, I think they have an outstanding coach in Steve Lutz. Watching his just the system that he's put in, watching film on Oklahoma State, they're extremely disruptive. There's no question. The team they're most like is probably San Diego State, and that their speed and athleticism and quickness causes so many problems. Whether it's a three-quarter court 1-2-2 press that's not easy to deal with because of their speed, then the way they recover. They do a great job of helping on drives. And then when you kick it out, they recover and take away the shot. So not an easy team to prepare for, certainly not an easy team to play against, because everybody from here on out will be different than what we've seen. But one through nine, I think Oklahoma State's got good players. They've got really good depth. The Avery kid and the Sumanek kid both played really good against us last year. Sumanek with West Virginia and Avery with UCF. But then the Osman kid played good against us at Xavier, and then the Jennings kid was at Texas Tech, played well here. Then I think they have two kids returning, Bryce Thompson and Keller. Keller actually played good against us last year too. So Thompson's been there a while. He's kind of their steady guy, capable of getting 20 against a lot of people. But their defense is their calling card, and really impressed with their speed. They bring a kid off the bench, Arturo Dean, who led the nation in steals last year at FIU. And that's what he does. They create havoc. So being able to get shots at the goal and taking care of the ball in a hostile environment is always going to be a challenge when you go on the road in this league, and that's what we'll be challenged with.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Chancellor Johnson from KPRC TV. Chancellor, please go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kelvin.
Morning, Chancellor.
Obviously, every year is different, and even with Oklahoma State, they have a new coach. But how much can it help a program in the second year in conference having some more familiarity with maybe going to different environments and maybe different, knowing maybe certain type of playing styles, maybe the second year around for a program?
Well, we didn't go to Oklahoma State last year. They came to us, but we had 9 road games last year. We have 10 this year. Um, we have a lot of guys that's played in tough environments on the road. Um, and for a lot of, you're always on the road in some conference. I don't think it matters what conference you're in. Playing on the road in the American for us was tough because everywhere we went was a packed house. At Tulane, their biggest crowd. At Temple, sold out. So it doesn't matter what league you're in. Playing on the road is tough in any league. Um, whether it's your first go around, second go around, third go around, you're it's always going to be your toughest challenge every year is to being able to perform and keep your wits about you when you go on the road. But you know, um, we had 9 road games last year. I'm not. Well, I don't even know what was our record on the road last year.
I believe it was 7-2.
That would not be right.
5-3.
No, for conference.
How about 6-3? That sounds about right. Since there's 9 out.
That's right. Kansas. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Joseph Duarte. Joseph, you have a question, or did you just ask it?
No, I'm sorry. I did have a question. I was wrong on the math there. Sorry, Kelvin. Kelvin, the non-conference part, 2 of the guys that hadn't played the longest since last year was like Terrence and JoJo. Do you feel like you got some good quality floor time from them early just to sort of get them back into playing rhythm and shape going into conference?
Yeah, that goes both ways too. For sure. They both improved over the previous year. Terrence, set out almost the entire year. He got hurt, and I think it was mid-December, right? So he didn't play any conference games. So the Oklahoma State game will be his first Big 12 game. JoJo didn't start any of the Big 12 games, so this will be his first start. And then Javier, Malik, Emmanuel, Terrence, Jaywan, they've been in these positions before, but not with Milos or not with Terrence. So I try not to make a big deal out of it, though. Um, I never do. I mean, we're playing Oklahoma State on the road. We got 10 road games. The thing about these road games is you have to choose courage over comfort. You can't. You got to have a little courage when you go play on the road. They're different. And this will be a new group, so I'm as excited to see them as you guys are. We haven't had a road game yet.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Kelvin, how has the way you've done scouting reports changed over the years, and when did you get to the current way you guys handle it?
Well, back when I first started coaching, um, you had film exchange. It wasn't all the games weren't on TV. I'm not even sure you would understand how it used to be. We used to go scout in person. I remember going to scout University of Nebraska in Lincoln. I mean, when I was an assistant at Washington State, you get on a plane and go scout. When you get there, you'd see, 10 or 12 other coaches that flew in to scout that game, make your notes. But now nobody, they disallowed that. So you have access to film. Um, we our system is called Synergy. So we can hit buttons and pull up a team's offensive possessions, hit another possession. I'm sorry, another button and pull up their defensive possessions. But like everything else, you just evolve. You know, when I was with the Rockets with Kevin, I was the associate head coach, so I would assign all the scout reports. I had Chris Finch, J.B. Bickerstaff, and myself, Greg Buckner some. But, I always wanted to scout the teams that I wanted to learn something from, like Terry Stotts for Portland. I always did that report. Pop in San Antonio. Scott Brooks had Westbrook, Durant, Harden, Collison, those guys at Oklahoma City. So, being able to have access to and learning how to do film. When I was a head coach, my first go around in college, I wasn't very good with technology. But being an assistant in the NBA really helped me learn how to use the technology. So I can come in here and pull up the computer and watch whatever you want, just like all coaches do. I don't know that we've got market cornered on we're the best scouting team ever. We're certainly not that. But there's certain things that I look for, like what tendencies. You'll find out more about their tendencies from their last 3 to 5 games than you would their first 5 games. So knowing what to look for, who their best players are, how to get them shots, how to guard middle pick and rolls, side pick and rolls. All then you come up with a game plan, and I hope you make enough shots for it to work.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, yesterday, big news. Jim Larinaga announced that he was stepping down at Miami, and he cited just some of the changes that coaches have to go through, transfer portal, NIL. You've seen a number of your colleagues and friends step down recently in the last 5 years for many different reasons. But is that sort of the way things are going in the coaching profession, and just sort of some of the things that you have to tackle and obstacles you have to confront in terms of what this job is now?
Of course. And it is what it is. It's kind of like opportunities and resources. There's always going to be more opportunities than resources. That's why you have to prioritize. We try to do that when we recruit. We try to do that with roster management. We try to do that with retaining. Is we have to set priorities because our world has changed. And then when you're on the outside looking in, you don't have to be very smart to tell us what we're doing wrong or how we should do it. But the being on the inside, actually doing it is very difficult. It's not easy. Easy is reacting to what somebody did wrong or somebody did right. But being inside the arena, it requires you to be able to not to be redundant, but you've got to really prioritize and then look at your resources and look at your opportunities and see where everything fits. Most of the coaches my age or in my era, and most of them are close friends of mine, whether it's Tom Izzo or Rick Barnes or Leonard Hamilton. I've been knowing some of those guys for 40 years. That's when we got into the profession, we got into it because we loved helping kids, and we love to coach, we love to compete, we love to prepare our teams to go play another team. But that's not what it is anymore. And there's a lot of head coaches that they're at a point in their life where they make a decision on how they want to spend the rest of their life. I think Jim was what, 75, 76, something like that. So, but he's earned the right to make that decision. He's been a stalwart in this profession for a long time, just as Jay Wright, Tony Bennett, Mike, Roy, all those guys. Those guys, we're talking about giants in the profession, and I appreciate all the work that they've done to lead the way for another generation. But Coach Larinaga, Jim, he and his wife are just such great people, and they've been so good for young people and for our game for a long time. And I hope people take the time to focus on the positives about what a guy like Jim did instead of just all the cynicism and negativity that goes around when somebody makes a life decision like that. So I just like to say thank you to Jim, and I wish him well going forward. Hope he has a lot of productive years left. We'll miss him.
Thank you, Joseph. We go to Manav Gupta from College Basketball Review. Manav, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Manav.
Is the team where you want it to be heading into conference play, and is it?
Manav, I've had that question asked to me 1,977 times time 3. I have no idea what that means.
Is it what you expected at all at this time?
I don't know that I had any expectations. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smartass here. I mean, it's sometimes those questions just aren't relative to the way I think. Because of the schedule we played, we could have won a couple of those games early, and then, we're a possession away from beating Alabama, possession away from beating San Diego State. Had the ball to win both those games, but we lost them. But I think we've improved a lot since then. And I think we're a team that's continued to improve, Manav. So where we are right now is irrelevant to where we're going to be a week from now. We played 11 games. And I think our kids understand how it is we want to win. I don't think they understood that in early November. But I think they have a better understanding of it now. But regardless of where a coach says he is right now, it doesn't matter, because it's about how much better can you get. I hope that makes sense, and I'm not trying to be rude.
Thank you, Manav. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Chris, go ahead.
Kelvin, speaking of the changing landscape in college basketball, you see some programs, hiring GM roles, to deal with some of this stuff and things like that. Does this new landscape take more staff and more time? And how have you guys been able to deal with it?
Yes, it takes considerable more time. I spent a lot of time in the summer on the phone trying to raise money. All of us do. You have to. Especially the head coach. You just don't sit here and it just rolls in every day. You've got to go out and ask, and sometimes they say no, sometimes they say yes. But we've kind of, up until this point, we've kept everything in house. Now that the House settlement bill, I'm assuming it's going to pass, a lot of it is going to be moved to the athletic department. So there's an assumption there that we'll have help that we haven't had. Up to this point, we've done it all ourselves. When I say ourselves, it's with Lincoln Coots and our staff. That's it. So we've had to spend a lot of time And I think it's the stuff you guys don't know about that I can't really explain. Maybe it's because I'm not smart enough to. That's probably it. But there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes with this stuff that is very time consuming. And when you get a guy like Jim or Jay or any of those guys, they want to coach basketball. But but you've got to keep adding hats. You wear so many hats now. You got to wear a fundraising hat. You got to go do things that's out of the ordinary. You've got to make calls that's out of the ordinary. Because if you don't, you're going to get behind. And we have this program at at a level that a lot of people respect. I know our fans enjoy watching our team play. And I know our team enjoys playing at Fertitta with the chance at least to be successful. But it's the offense and defense and the fundraising all go in the same bucket now.
We got time for a couple more questions. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, your morning updates with John Houston, any changes with J1, or is it a matter of just getting some good rest from him during this time off, or during that y'all did?
Yeah, he was, he's not 100%, but he had a good practice last night. He's the only guy I think on the list right now. We have everybody's got nicks and knacks this time of year, but most of our kids are, they get their treatment from John. They come in the mornings. They get it after practice. But we're keeping an eye on J1 because we wanted to make sure he's healthy for the game. So we kind of nurse him through these practices a little bit.
We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, with the Big 12 season, 20 games now, longer than ever. Do you have to, take the time between games any differently as far as rest and recovery?
Well, it's 20 games is 2 more games. It's not 10 more games. You spend your time with rest and recovery during the 18 games too. Nobody practices 2 hours this time of year. Nobody's scrimmaging for an hour or doing loose ball drills or bubble drills. So we do that in November. We don't do that in conference play. So, but I'm not doing anything I haven't done forever. So sometimes there's a myth that goes around about how teams practice that could not be further from what reality is. So no, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything any different. Your practices are shorter. You're doing more preparation for your next game. You work more on skill development than you do 5-on-5 contact work because that's the time of the year it is.